Good morning, everybody. We're going to start with the web intake and using the intake cases manager. So under home, there's two ways to make new intakes. We can go to new intake. That will start a new intake directly. So if you've got a new phone call or a new intake that comes in, you can immediately start with the new intake and start entering all of the client's demographic information. Again, we have two fields, one contacted by, one injured party. If they are one and the same, just check also injured party and go ahead and enter all your demographic information or as much as you've got. If this is a client that we've dealt with before, there's the address book. Let's use it. Find that client, add selected, it'll fill everything in for us. One of the biggest things I think that we want to get is first name, last name, email address, and then their cell phone number. If you need to edit, you can edit that existing contact and go ahead and enter their cell phone number. And the reason why we want to enter that cell phone number is so we can text that client. Okay? The second way to get into intake cases is to go to home and intake cases. From here, this is going to show you a list of all of our intake cases. So I can see all of the intake cases that we've taken in the whole firm. I can double click and open one of those intakes up. See this information that's here. If I need to add, adjust, or edit any of this information, I can easily do that. I can enter what type of case it's going to be. If it's quick turn down or summary turn down, I will not be able to make that case into TrialWorks. So I won't be able to go to finish. So if I choose quick turn down or summary turn down, when I go to finish, cannot create case in TrialWorks due to the status. So if you type in a status or you use quick or summary turn down, it will not let you go to finish. Only if it's under consideration will you be able to go to finish. And again, this is going to ask all of our client demographic information when we look under the Clients tab. Who contacted us? Who's the injured party? The incident? What happened? The date, time, location. Police and vehicle information if applicable. And any prior claims this client may have had. Our other parties information, our docket, insurance, employment information, treatment, medical providers, and any documents that we may have created in that intake. We know that every case doesn't go to a full case. That's why you can create your welcome letter, create your turn down letter, or create other letters here without it actually becoming a full-blown case in TrialWorks. Yes.
What do you do when the contacted by is an attorney? For example, an attorney in Michigan called us and said, I'm going to refer a case to you. So the contacted by is that attorney, and the injured party is a deceased individual. So your actual client is going to be the third field, the person we're actually in.
The thing is I would have listed that attorney under the case, under the referral fields, because he's
apologies, Eric. Just a quick reminder to give us a summary of that question, because those of us online can't hear it.
So the question was, in the intake wizard, the contacted by was an actual referral attorney from Michigan that had referred a case, the injured party, but the injured party was a decedent. Where can we put the third one? And I was just explaining that the referral should have gone in the referral field here because they're truly the referring person. And then the decedent also would have been the also injured party. So I would have put their information in. And then once you get the case created in TrialWorks, then you can put in the executor or whoever may be in control of that estate. Does that help? Good? All right. So one of the things that we've got too with the intake is the web intake. So when we look at the web intake, one of the things that most people that are getting the app, the web intake, they want to know the system requirements and those things. You can always go to TrialWorks and our web page, go to support. If you scroll down just a little bit, you're going to see our TrialWorks forms. Right there's the TW app and web intake request form. If you click on that, you can then fill out this information and choose what would you like to do today. Request the app, request the web intake, or request them both. If you request them both or choose that third radio button, it is then going to open all of the requirements up and the things that need to be on the server for you. So once you do get the web intake installed, you can then log in and you will see all of your intakes that are in your intake cases manager on via the web. So on the left is our intake cases manager dashboard. So we can see all of our intake cases. We can see all of our TrialWorks cases. All of our contacts that are in our TrialWorks database. Our global docket. Our global documents. When we look at the global documents here, you can see to the right, 0 emails, 0 documents. So there was no emails or documents created in this case. But if we scroll down and even go to the next page, we can see that there was 3 documents and 2 emails in this case. So I want to see what that is. I can click on that case. Go to those documents. Come on. And I could see those documents that were there in that case and also the emails. Okay. And then if you have user-defined forms, and again, user-defined forms allows you to create your own questions or certain things that you would want to ask for, like family law, like real estate, anything that you may do, a bad medical device or something that may come up, any kind of mass tort or something like that that you may be working on. If those fields aren't available in TrialWorks, you can always build a UDF and create those fields. So you can have those fields accessible to you. So when we go back to intake cases, we can see all of our cases here that are in our intake. We can always go down here to the bottom and manage. And I can turn off or turn on columns as I want to see them. So if I want to see who these intakes were created by, I can check it, hit apply, and it's going to show me the applied. Bless you. Who created those? And again, I can turn off or turn on those fields as I see fit or what you want to see. From there, just to the right, you see the funnel. We can actually funnel and filter out from our intakes. Or if I'm looking for a specific intake, I can just type in what I'm looking for. It finds that intake, so I can then go to that intake if I need to. So once I do find an intake that I want to see, I can click on it. And it's going to give me all of the case information, the client information, the injured party information, the status, incident information, other parties, notes, insurance and medical, the statute information. And again, all of this information that we see here is also in our intake. So when we look at our intakes, we would see that information there. If you notice, there's not a UDF assigned here because I haven't chosen a case status or liability yet. So when I choose my liability, then it gives me my UDF that's associated for that. So then I can fill out the information for Actos. As we keep looking through the information up top, we have contacts. These are all the contacts that are in this case. Rather than over in the dashboard that's showing us all of our contacts, these are the contacts that are just associated with this case or this intake. Next to that is our intake notes. This is where we can communicate amongst ourselves, those in the firm, about this intake. If I need to edit or delete that record, I can. Next to intake note is docket. Docket will allow you to create docket entries just like we would have gone into the intake and created docket entries. The best part about this too is I can create a new docket entry or I can apply a fast track. So if there's 15 things you want done in the first 30 days of this intake, you can create that into a fast track or a checklist and say, I want to apply this apply that fast track. So now it's telling me those things that need to get taken care of are done. Good? Yes, sir.
Will these add, the fast tracks, will they automatically add to news into your calendars? Or will you have to physically go in and look at the document?
Okay. The question was, if you apply fast track, will it automatically add calendar entries and to-dos in the docket? It will do that. When you're setting up the fast track in the administrative end, you can actually set it to calendar or to your Outlook task. So either one of those, it would do those items for you. Yep. So the next thing we wanted to talk about was looking at the TrialWorks app using the app server or using your app on your phone. So as everybody in the room can see, this is what's on the phone. I can click my TrialWorks app. Let me put my face in it. So then I can see all of my cases that are in TrialWorks. Okay. If I choose a case, I can see up top all of the different document tabs that the app is holding or has documents in. If I want to see one of those documents, I can just go down, click on it, and it's going to open that document up for me. I can't create documents here, but I can view every document that's been in that case. Down below, I see my notes. I can see all the notes that have been made in this case. If I want to add a new note, just click the blue plus sign. Go ahead and add your note. The best part about this that I think most people didn't realize is if you click on the note, see the microphone in the bottom right-hand corner? I can dictate. This is the way we dictate into our note on the app.
Eric, despite your ban, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I am finding when I'm trying to put in a note or a docket item, there's a thing that says null when you see that in the app.
Okay.
Some of the places I can click on the name, but it doesn't come back up. It still says null.
Okay.
Glitch in the app on my version of the app, or
And Dan's question was, when he does clicks on the notes in the app, he gets a null value, and he's just asking
in the author name.
in the author name, and he's saying that he gets those in the docket entries when he's the assigned to and assigned by fields, and he's just wondering if it's part of the app or if it's something that he's doing. I'll look at your app on the break, and we'll definitely fix it. Yes, sir. So again, I can keep adding if I needed to. And I just wanted to add just a little bit more. And then I can just hit create. And it went on ahead and created that note for me. Also down at the bottom, we have our contacts. So if I'm on the road and I need to call Judy, I don't have to worry or call the office or look up anything. I can just click on Judy, go ahead and call her. And it would make that call for me from my phone. Docket. Docket's going to show you all of the docket entries that are on this case. Up in the information, or the I that's next to the case name, it's the case summary. So it'll give you a full summary of everything that's on this case. If I need to search for new cases, I can always hit the 3 lines on the top left. Click on switch case. Find the case I'm looking for. If there is a case. And it'll find all of those that are there. Cool. And again, you have your timekeeping options, docket, our address book. Very cool. And then we're just going to keep working. So the next thing we want to talk about is our web enabled, or being able to, once you see that intake, so once I get comfortable with this, I can email those intake details. So if I've taken this intake and I've done this intake and I need to let someone know, I can click on email intake details. Who am I going to send it to? And I can see everything there. So if I send that email, there it is. And I can see all the information that's on that intake. So if I'm doing the intake, I'm the receptionist to the paralegal, and I need to let one of the attorneys know, I can easily email this to them. Hey, is this something we'd be interested in? Or is this something we'd like to do? So it's not that I have to write all this information down and then wait on the attorney to get back in the office or wait on them to do this or that or anything else. I can email it to them right away. So when they are out, maybe at a deposition, or they are flying somewhere or doing something, they can still look at this and review it and see if it's something we'd be interested in. So the next thing too is we can share. If we share, that means we're going to share this intake with our client. So maybe they didn't have their address, city, state, and zip filled in, and we need to get that information. I can click on share. I can say your new intake. Come down. I can edit this form. So if I don't want them touching everything for every field that's there, I can edit the form and say, hey, I only want them to have access to, I don't want them to have access to their cell phone, home phone. I just want address, city, state, zip. That's it. Because that's what I need them to fill in for me. From there, I can save. And again, if you wanted to give them access to their UDF or whatever it was, those options, date and time and location for the incident, notes, or their UDF, I can turn those off and on as I see fit and share with them what I want to share with them. So again, I can still come in. If I want to preview the form that I'm going to send them, I can hit preview. And it shows me what should be there. So then I can say, who do I need to send it to? And send email. It'll tell you right here that it has been sent successfully. So then I can come in, and there's my new intake. I can click on it. See my intake, open. And again, once you go to that first initial email, it's going to ask you to log in. So give you the first name, last name, and email address that's associated. So now you can come in and change what you needed. I can hit submit, submit changes. Then it's going to tell me it's saving the record. All right. So now, if I go down here, go to intake cases, leave that page. I want to find Lily Blue again. Go to their injured party field and notice those address has changed. Good. If you're sharing, let me unshare. If you're sharing this intake, do not delete this. If you delete the click here to complete your intake, it will break the link. You can always add to it after, but just don't delete. Click here to complete your intake information. Good? So from there, if all of this information is filled in and I got it the way that I want it, I can always come down to the bottom, save as a case in TrialWorks. So now that that case has been created in TrialWorks, and I restarted just to make sure I was refreshed and up to date. There's my case. I can click on it, and it's going to have that information that we had entered in the intake here. When I create a new case, the first thing I want to do is look at what I always call to is the big four or the top four. And the reason why they're the top four to me is because they are the cases, or the tabs in TrialWorks that you're going to create your initial letters. It's probably going to be 90% of them. It's going to pull information from the clients tab to make sure all the client information is up to date. The other parties tab. If we didn't have another party, that's why we want to make sure that's up to date. So when we go through and enter the other party's information, again, I can click on the address book, show my adverse parties, add that contact, and then come down and add their attorney's information. If it's an attorney we've dealt with before, just click on the pencil. Show all, find that attorney we want, add, then I can add him to the service list. And then the next tab I want to enter is the caption tab. This is where we want to enter how we want this style of the case to show up. Then I can enter my court name. Again, if you didn't know, you can always double click on the court name. It'll bring up every court name you've ever used. Find the court name you want, choose value, and it'll fill that court name in for you. So you're not having to type that information again and again and again. Enter our case number from the court. And then our array. And then the fourth tab is insurance and liens, but we're not going to talk about that being the fourth tab today. Good? Is there any questions about anything we've talked about so far? Yes, ma'am.
If you do not already have the individual in your address book,
Mm-hmm.
does it make any difference whether you first add them under contacts or under other parties? If it's a dependent, for example.
So the question was, if I don't have the other party in my address book, does it matter if I enter them here or enter them in the contacts tab first? It really doesn't. To to me, I would always add it in other parties, because if you add it in other parties, you can easily push add party to contacts here at the bottom, and it'll add them to your your contacts in this case and your global contacts. Where if you add them to the contacts, you still have to make another step to go in here and try to find them and bring them in anyway. So anytime you add a contact in a tab, be it be medical, insurance, other parties, clients, you can always have the right to push it to your contacts, and it'll automatically create a contact for that person and also add them to the global address book. That's why if you're looking at these and the address book is always an option, or the pencil or some way to reach that address book, because I would always check to make sure that that person's not already a contact, because if you do, it will create them twice and 3 times and 4 times and so on. Brian, are you guys all good in cyberspace?
We are doing good. We just got a question from Julia Martinez. Could you show us how to create the SOL in the docket with customized reminders?
Yes. So in the docket tab itself, I can click the green plus sign. First, if you're really going to do a docket, I would do it on the clients tab, because once you enter your event date, it's going to give you your statute. Give me 1 second here. So when it gives you your 3-year, 4-year, 2-year statute, whatever it may be, it's going to give you that statute date. It's going to ask you, would you like to add this date to the docket? It's always going to ask you to send it to the docket. Yes. And from here, it's given me my date, it's given me my activity, and then my reminders. To the right of my reminders are the 2 arrows here. This will allow me to choose year, month, week, day as a reminder, 90, 60, 30, 10, 9, 8, or multiple that I can set up my own. Please note, if you choose one of these options, it's going to give you calendar entries for every single one of those dates that it's given you reminders for. Unlike TrialWorks, Outlook only gives you 1 reminder date per entry. So if we chose year, month, week, day, it gives you 1 for every year, 1 for every month within the year, 1 for every week within the month, 1 for every day within the last week. Outlook can't do that many reminders. It only does 1 per entry. So it gives you that many calendar entries that are going to come up if you choose one of these options. Does that answer the question, Brian?
More than, I believe. Thank you, bud.
Awesome. Awesome.